ready? I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement, the Cape May Star and Wave website, and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad?
Here.
Councilmember Perry?
Here.
Councilmember Simonson?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Here.
Mayor Beck?
Here. Okay. I got papers all over. Bear with me for 1 second here. Every now and then we get to do something here before we begin the meetings, which is really fun or something that is really interesting. And tonight we have one of our lower regional, Cape Regional school students, George Sawyer. George, where are you at? I know I saw you. Step up here, please, for a second. The New Jersey League of Municipalities, they run a Future Municipal Leaders Scholarship Competition. And it's the Mayor's Scholarship is what they call it. It's a Lewis Bay second Future Municipal Leaders Scholarship Competition. And they send me a package every year in the beginning of the year, which in cooperation with Chris Kobick over the school, we disseminate to all the students. And then when that's done, we have a professional in-house committee consisting of the two individuals sitting here who go through the different entries and select one which is sent to the state. And we are super pleased to announce that George Sawyer was one of 3 winners throughout the state. Now, they have in here, it says, like, for instance, they offer 3 scholarships statewide. It centers on the theme, what my municipal government does best. I don't want any jokes out of that either. All right? And seeks to advance the virtues of elected and volunteer members of municipal government. Many of the elected officials and appointed board members serve your municipality with little or no compensation. It is their altruistic desire to serve their community which compels them to public service. They are guardians of our hometown comforts and security. They give up their time and talents to help plan our community and preserve the way of life. So they've been challenged, these applicants or entrants, to write an essay. How many words was it, George? Do you remember?
I'm thinking it was like 500
500
to 1,000, yeah.
So you got what was it, $2 per word?
Something like that.
Something like that you were paid. So I'm going to come down. He's going to read his essay. It's not that long, but I would ask council to come down. And George has his parents with him. If they would come forward, I'd present this check, minus carrying charges, of course, George. and I know George from before Lower Cape May Regional. Where did you go to grade school?
St. Raymond's in the Villas, yep.
Okay. So unfortunately, I think they closed before you were in my class, right?
Yeah, yep.
All right. I was looking forward to having that rascal in my class, too. All right. So if council would step down and if the parents would please come forward. What would you rather have, this little certificate or $1,000? Okay, turn around and face this way. You hold this. Here's your certificate, Mom and Dad. Why don't you get in behind him, and we'll get you certainly in the midst of this. We'll both hold this and then I'll take it. Okay. You got that? Hold that. Okay. Got it? Hold on. I mean, here's his check. We gotta get that in there too. George is buying down at the ice cream store, but he probably wouldn't like that. There's your check, and if you could give the folks here a quick listen to what you wrote.
Yep.
Since we're all proud of you, George, no doubt about it.
Okay.
You're a good kid.
All right.
Mom and Dad, you want to wait here for it while you put your head up top?
You guys, yeah, I guess, yeah, that'd be good.
Also come back up. We can
It's all right.
You might sing too.
Ready? Should I start now? All right. The motto of my municipality, the Township of Lower, is a place to remember. It has the best sunsets in New Jersey and is home to the second largest commercial fishing port on the East Coast. It also has an exceptional municipal government. They develop local ordinances, run a police department, and pick up trash, which are all necessary in everyday life. However, Lower Township does much more than just the basic necessities. The best part of my municipal government is that it works well with local organizations, other government officials, and local business interests to develop and implement new ideas for economic development, truly making Lower Township a place to remember. Lower Township, surrounded by water in the southern portion of Cape May County, relies heavily on tourism as a source for jobs and money. With the recent downturn in the national economy and increasing tourism competition from neighboring beach locations, our local economy is struggling. To help solve these problems, Lower Township created a special economic development committee. The main purpose of this committee is to brainstorm ways to create jobs and thrust money into the local economy. The committee is comprised of local business owners, school administrators, and members of town civic organizations. These people have come up with innovative and interesting new ideas for economic development in my township. Since my municipal government brought a diverse group of people together, there is hope for the township now and in future generations. Being able to communicate, brainstorm, and work with others in the community truly shows the strength of my township. Since Lower Township is a tourist destination, our population skyrockets in the summer months. We receive visitors from across the Northeast staying at our campgrounds, enjoying our beaches, and indulging at our restaurants. To help complement their vacations and develop the local economy, Lower Township, in partnership with local organizations and businesses, puts on an incredible schedule of events in the summertime. Just a few years ago, they struck a deal with a local race promoter in the Delaware River and Bay Authority to run a triathlon where participants jump off a boat to begin the race. They have also partnered with the Cape May Lewis Ferry to host a summer concert series featuring bands giving tribute to music legends such as Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel. Lower Township even created a special program called the Friends of Lower Township, where business owners donated money to help fund and expand the popular Independence Day Festival and fireworks, which attracts thousands of spectators from all across southern New Jersey. In building partnerships with local organizations and businesses, Lower Township has been able to improve the community experience for residents and visitors alike. This is definitely something my municipal government does best. My municipal government truly works well with the local community. Other municipalities could learn a thing or two from my township. In working with local civic organizations, businesses, and schools to brainstorm new ideas for economic development and to develop new events, my municipal government is truly making Lower Township a place to remember.
I knew I liked that kid. That was like a commercial.
Yeah, maybe.
Did I write that or you? Yeah. Well, you're a credit to your family
Yep, definitely.
and to the school that
Yeah,
you
Lower-
attend.
Lower Cape May Regional, all my English teachers have taught me how to write essays like
And who might they be, some of your teachers?
Mr. Chris Rosenberg, Karen Murnahan, Chris Vitale, and Leah Kopsitz. They've been great.
Way to tip the hat, because they help you learn the skills that put you at that microphone. And we certainly, all of council and all the township, we're very proud of you. And we wish you, what grade are you in now?
I'm a senior, so.
Oh, and what college would have your presence next year?
Salisbury University down in Maryland.
Okay. And your major?
Marketing.
Marketing. Okay, I see. I see. Okay. We'll be getting a call from you in a few years, right?
Okay.
Okay, well, we wish you the best of luck, and thank you for the kind words. And
you.
congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Take care. Okay.
Attorney tribute is awesome.
We have Mr. Maloney, a good friend of Lower Township and Council, to speak about the Cape May Port Commercial Fishing Festival and he has a handout for us too. Go ahead,
Yeah, I do.
tell us all about it.
Are we, I think we're on here, yes, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Good evening, Mayor Beck, Deputy Mayor Clark, council members, manager, the solicitor, and Julie and her team. Thank you for inviting us. My name is Kevin Maloney, for those who don't know me. I'm with the Cape May Maritime Museum and Education Center. I'm here tonight to tell you a little bit about a planned event. George, who preceded me, talked about the Port of Cape May. By the way, we're in good hands with this, with this next generation, I think. So we're really, really proud of George and many of these students at Lower as well. We're here to tell you about a planned commercial fishing festival at the Port of Cape May, scheduled for June 5th, 6th, and 7th. And how this originated was this fellow over here, Wayne Wayland. A few years back, it was a rainy November night, and it was dark, and he knocked on the door and he said, "I heard you're maybe starting a maritime museum, and I'd like to help you." And so Wayne and I have become really good friends. I can tell you, from the perspective that Wayne is an expert metal for shipwrights, and he does a tremendous amount of good work in the community here. He's also volunteered for Superintendent Chris Kubik's educational foundation to change a life over lunch. The number of students maybe not going to college but want to learn a trade, and some of Wayne. I don't want to embarrass Wayne here too much, but Wayne, through conversations, he had been working for several years up at Mystic Seaport, restoring an Eastern Rig dragger, which is a fishing vessel that, and these wooden vessels were the ones that transitioned from the schooners to the current modern day fishing trawlers that helped to make our port the second largest on the eastern coast here. So Wayne spent, I don't know, his dedication is phenomenal, but Wayne spent 1 month a year, 1 week a month for 8 years, helping to restore the Rowan. And in addition to that, a number of our community organizations also helped with this restoration work. You can see on page 3, it's a multi-million-dollar project. Steve White at the Mystic Seaport said this was probably one of the second most important projects that they've undertaken as far as restoration after the Charles W. Morgan. Because of the significance of this is one of the last wooden vessels that have survived this period. So. What we're proposing to do, or what we did, I went up to Mystic, and the director up there, Stephen White, has really encouraged us to and accepted our invitation to bring the Rowan down here, to include on the cruise schedule, and to because of the work from Wayne, Eccles Diesel Marine, they donated the engine for this, and they rebuilt it, which was a really tremendous gift. Sea Gear donated a lot of the standing rigging and so forth. Dave Burkhart did some of the welding and so forth. So we've had a tremendous amount of support from the community here, all volunteers, to help to do this really important restoration work. So we thought, well, if the Rowan's coming down here, and the Lotterman family is hosting this, as well as the Maritime Museum, perhaps we can at least recognize some of the individuals in our community who helped to support this, and maybe tell a little bit of their history and the history of our seaport here in Township of Lower. So we contacted up in New Bedford, Mass. They have that's the largest commercial seaport in the United States, and they have what's called a Working Waterfront Festival. And at this festival, they have the different vessels and so forth, and it's really a great celebration of their rich history. So we said, gosh, it would be maybe an interesting thing to try to perhaps start that and have something like that here in our township. And so we started with that concept, and we know that the Reading Railroad, had a huge impact on the advances of the commercial fishing industry, in that when the railroads were introduced, we were able to bring the harvest to market in an expeditious manner to Philadelphia and beyond. Ice was another big important factor, and just the fact that how they loaded ice onto these freight cars would be something that would have value. So the railroad's part of that. Also, what we're going to be talking about or introducing is an educational and hopefully, like you talked about, fun and interesting experience for people. It's all going to be free. And one of the other exhibits is the Eccles diesel. They're going to talk about the transition or the diesel engines that were in part of World War II. After the conclusion of the war, there were these different U-boats and so forth in Normandy, and they found some of these engines that are similar to what's in the Rowan were running after 3 days. It's an amazing engine that we developed here in Detroit. And so they're going to be talking about the history of that. NOAA is going to be there. They're going to be talking about sustainability, and we're working with Rutgers universities, and they're talking about sustaining the different types of shell and fin fish, and so that's going to be part of it. The Garden State Seafood Association is going to be there. Sea Gear, the Coast Guard has volunteered to tell a little bit of the history about the Coast Guard, their involvement with the advances of the commercial fishing industry with doing search and rescues and inspections. And they also do, I guess, inspections for gear so that when they do these dredging for, like, scallops is our number one, I think, catcher as far as the economics go, and to make sure that they don't capture sea turtles as an example. So they have technologies to help to support that as well. So, and we think it's going to be hopefully the weather will be nice, and it's going to be a 3-day event. We're going to try to get the Fisherman's Memorial service that Mark Allen has sponsored in the past, and he does a great job over at the Fisherman's Memorial to honor the fishermen who have been lost at sea, who gave it all. So again, it's at it's June 5th, 6th, and 7th, and it's going to be at the Skellinger's Landing, the dock. The Mid-Atlantic Center for the Arts and Humanities are going to offer their wharf and packing tours again. There's going to be some scallop demonstrations. We may have some quizzes for some of the kids. Most people, we'll talk about the scallops and how that originated. As an example, there's scallops can have up to 100 blue eyes, and most people don't know that. What does scallop even look like? And who their predators are. And so we're going to have maybe a quiz for the kids and make it again educational and interesting. We're going to have some of the volunteers from Lower Cape May Regional are going to hopefully be there to support this and to help the Lattermans, their staff, so that their operations aren't, disturbed too much. So, and again, thank you for letting us, talk about this and introduce this. So, and
Well, thank you, as always, for your passion. Questions? You all right with it? We wish you the best of success. If we can be of assistance, give us a holler.
Can we get this on the website, you believe?
I think that we can do something to that effect. I
Just
think
help get it out.
we'll do something to help you out. I think I have to give Julie a call because Eileen's off for a day or two. Okay, moving down to the consent agenda. Council comments or questions on the consent agenda? Open up to public comment on the consent agenda. Yes, sir.
John Skoronsky, 607 Arctic Avenue. Resolution number 215-163. I direct this to Rick Perry. Exactly what are you going to do with Whittier Avenue and Rose Hill Parkway as far as access goes? What are the plans?
I think that's the manager.
I believe that Mr. Ridgway can answer that best. What we've done thus far is to contact the DEP because we're not allowed to do anything there without their permission. But Hatchmont has been speaking to them. There's going to be a conference call tomorrow, and hopefully we get a special permit. And they both have unique problems with both of those access areas, and it's a safety issue. That's why those two are being addressed right now. As far as if we have to move a portion of a dune. We're going to be using our local Public Works crew to do that. But again, there's also an issue with, I believe, the red knots or piping plover. There's something in effect that they're looking into with regards to the timing on this. Nothing can be done supposedly after, I believe it's March 15th, unless there's exceptions to this. And I believe someone's here from Hatchmont tonight. If you want to wait till a little bit later in the open discussion, they may speak. Or would it be appropriate for Mr. Moore to speak?
Well, I don't think, it's not a major thing that we're looking at right now, John. It came out of DEP. Somebody had made correct me if I'm wrong.
This has been going on, those two areas, I believe 18 months. And now the sand is spilling onto the street in both areas. And just to simplify, both entranceways are too severe to go up. So I would tell you, they're trying to make it safer by,
Well, that's okay, but I live there, and those pathways and those dunes change from year to year.
Yes.
So if you're going to open up a pathway, next year that could be closed. And it just seems like money being thrown at something that's maybe not really necessary. You do have several accesses to the beach that are marked, and some of them are marked closed. And
again, I'm not an engineer, but I would agree with you that Rose Hill is completely different than Whittier. And I see what's happened at Rose Hill. So there may be something being done just to divert folks to another access. I saw it yesterday and today there. It's so, based on what you said, you're accurate. The sand has pretty much moved right on top of the bench that we have there.
right.
So,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Is there any other questions on the consent agenda? I'll close the public portion.
Approval of minutes, May 4th, 2015. Resolutions number 2015-148 through 2015-163.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2015-02, an ordinance amending Chapter 166, Animals of the Code of the Township of Lower. This is the public hearing for the final approval of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public at no charge.
Is there any council comments on this? Open up to public comment on this ordinance. Close. This is the ordinance on the animals, not the beaches.
One in the back.
Somebody else? Oh, hell, yeah, please.
You ready to handle this?
On Thompson Villas.
Right.
Mr. Stefankowitz, how does that work in the winter, the adequate ventilation?
I think it's a common sense thing. It depends upon the circumstances. I think council elected not to have a one-size-fits-all definition and elected to allow common sense to prevail.
But you added,
Adequate ventilation.
exactly, so how does that pertain in the winter?
Well, it wouldn't, more likely. It's more of a problem in the summer or during the warm months.
So then in the winter, they can't be in a garage less than 32 degrees, but they can be in a 32-degree garage with this ordinance, is that correct?
In the winter,
Yes.
the winter you have the temperature guidelines there. If they're indoors, it has to be adequately ventilated. Isn't that what the ordinance says?
It does, now. But what I'm saying is, if it's 3 degrees outside, then it's fine to be, the way it's written right now, it's fine to be in a 32-degree 32-degree garage on concrete floors. Is that correct? According to this
The way that
ordinance.
this is written right now, subsection G still would govern. So you have a temperature scale, you know that temperature scale, and then you have the general provisions of subsection, I believe it's G, that would govern. So if you get an unusual circumstance, it might be 32 degrees, but an animal control officer or a police officer can still look at subsection G and make a determination that it's improper. That's why I thought we tied in that subsection G. You can't define, I don't think, and we went through probably 6 council meetings, and council grappled with the idea of how we could define each and every problem that might arise if a dog's inside during the summer, or outside during the summer, inside during the winter. And what council elected to do was stick to the subsection G language, which is sort of a catch-all, but prohibit certain activities specifically in the body of the ordinance that precedes subsection G. So I think, stated otherwise, you're not going to be able to legislate every single circumstance that might arise. But if you take a look at the ordinance in total, it probably covers every circumstance and situation that could arise.
All right. All right. Well, I just want to thank you guys for adding the adequate ventilation on there, by the way.
Is there any other comments regarding this ordinance? Close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2015-03. This is a bond ordinance providing for various 2015 capital improvements by and in the Township of Lower, County Cape May, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,645,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,560,000 of bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. This is the public hearing for the final approval of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public free of charge.
Council comments? Open it up to public portion on this. If there's any questions, step forward. Go ahead.
Ed Butler from the Villas. Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. After reading this ordinance here, it's a great Christmas wish list in May. Very good. There's a lot of things on here. One of the questions I want to ask Councilman Perry, being in Ward 2, well, in fact, all the councilmen. The MUA also has a truck, a suction truck, brand new that they just bought. Costs over $350,000. Probably do the same thing as what you have in Public Works here. As shared services like you professed, and you're doing right along, maybe it'd be worthwhile to talk to them and save $350,000 or so on the Public Works things there, which is actually, when you look at it, $730,000 allocated for what they want. So it's a matter of really looking it over, and each one of these items in there, it's brand new. It's a beautiful truck. It does a good job. So,
And if you recall, a couple meetings back or a couple months back, that
I'm
truck
sorry?
broke. If you recall, a couple months back, the MUA truck broke down and the township truck came in, and it was an emergency situation, and that truck went into service and took care of the issue. And
well,
I'm sure the same thing will occur when the township gets their new one, because I understand that the township truck is in pretty bad shape also.
we know after going through a 1.9 increase from the municipality on the taxes, and you add this onto it, plus the interest, and I don't know what the interest would be, or CFO would probably know in the beginning of this, but you're looking at a 7.7-year bond issue, which is going to cost the taxpayers money. It's not a freebie. It's like using your credit card and you keep paying it, and you all know that. So you're putting another debt on the people as far as the taxpayers. And there's so much in here that, and I don't see anything in here really for the seniors, the taxpayers. It's all about public works, public safety, recreation,
And
administration.
Public Works and Public Safety are for the taxpayers.
What?
Public Works and Public Safety things are for the taxpayers. Now, real quick,
but
you
we're
brought up the
paying-
treasurer.
we're-
Would any of this purchases in any way affect the tax rate? Okay, thank you. She said it's going to, it's in the plan to keep the all this, what you're looking at the spending, is going to keep the tax rate stable. It's not going to raise taxes.
It shouldn't raise taxes because your interest is going to be paid right down the road anyway, and it's going to cost the interest for the taxpayer. So you're saying in the long run, it won't cost the taxpayers anything?
No, it's not going to cost them more.
All right.
All right.
You know, we can go over this and over this. It's not going to change because the easiest way to get money is from the taxpayers, and that's
And
the
last
only
year
thing-
you had no
that's the only
problems
thing you got. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or comments? Close the public portion. The motion to,
Make a motion. Approve. I'll second it.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
yes.
Ordinance 2015-04, an ordinance revising and restating Chapter 178, beaches of the Code of the Township of Lower. This is the public hearing for the final approval of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public at no fee.
Okay, council comments or questions on this ordinance?
Before the meeting, I received a few phone calls on this. And before the meeting, I was trying to figure out what's the best way to handle some of the questions I had and the concerns from the residents. And talking to the mayor prior, he said, how about we change for boats to powered watercraft only? I could live with that. It doesn't affect the kayakers, the catamarans, mariners that have been using it for years, the Hobie cats, the sunfish. These people have been living here. We're not trying to take things away. We're trying to make sure things stay the same and people don't start abusing the beach and start not following some rules. We are getting more people down at the beach. We have to have a way to control it. We now get an ordinance to protect the people that have been using it and the residents, but I could live with changing watercraft to being powered watercraft to help
I
our
would
residents.
too, but I'd have to ask our solicitor whether that would constitute a major change in the ordinance.
I don't really think it would be. I'm looking at the ordinance language. I don't think that would be a
Okay.
material change in the overall scope of this ordinance.
That's fine.
And the other,
I mean, if council is, we'd have to discuss that. and
Would we have to table and come back to it, or?
No, I
No.
think that
Is it
what we
something
need
you
to
can
do is
change?
agree to make the change before is there anything else in the ordinance that anybody has an issue with?
now, powered watercraft, I could agree with the 50 yards because some of those jet skis.
Right.
But since we're not going to affect the sail powered, that'll be just dropped right off. And I don't,
Let's just take a quick look at the language.
that'd
if you don't
be
mind.
Article 5, I believe. It's the only other thing that would affect.
I just want to look at, it says watercraft, the definition means rowboats, sailboats, catamarans, personal watercraft, and power boats. So that would be what we would want to change. Now, is that a state designation? Is that a state definition?
Not to my knowledge, but
Okay.
I can't tell you off the top
We
of my
would
head.
probably want to put down anything that's engine powered, I guess.
Yeah.
Which would take out of the mix the different personal watercraft that are, small sailboats or, the
Right, it would take
Kayaks,
rowboats, sailboats,
rowboats.
catamarans.
That's right.
It would still include personal watercraft, i.e. jet skis. And
Jet skis
and
and.
power
ri-
boats.
Power boats, people coming in, that kind of a situation. Is council, I guess what the best is to make a motion to amend it, right?
Yes,
And
We would
then,
just take out sail-powered watercraft, correct?
yes.
Take out.
Yeah,
Take out
we're taking out means
rowboats,
rowboats, sailboats,
and
catamarans.
catamarans.
So to be watercraft will be defined as personal watercraft and power boats. Actually, we should just make it power boats. I mean, and
Jet
powered
skis.
watercraft, because it has to include jet skis. They're
Yes.
defined as personal watercraft, but it's like watercraft is defined as personal watercraft. Maybe we
Well-
should just say jet skis.
And,
Jet
and
skis
you know,
and
you have
power-
the definition of term power boats. Is that something that,
Engine powered,
I think that that's what we want to go to?
okay.
Because I'm not sure that a power boat and a fishing boat are the same, and I'm just saying. Now,
You might want to just say motorized watercraft.
well, that's what we're saying, engine,
I can
Says
live with
motor
that.
or
I can-
powered.
I can live with motorized watercraft.
okay, that's fine. Whatever it is, as long as we understand it, what we're doing. Now, we'll have a call to the public in a minute. Thank you. It's not public comment time, we're still working. I appreciate that, and perhaps what we should, put that in there as tentative, because we still should, well, we have to have a call to the public regardless of the changes that we make, so you'll have a chance to comment on that. Want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to make the amendment to motorized watercraft in the definition.
A second.
Okay.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Okay, so what else on this? Is council have any issues with any of this?
I think it's important, Mayor. I got calls this week about people are getting, the news late, and there's people out there believing that this ordinance is prohibiting the use of paddle boards, for example. So
Well, that clarifies it.
clearly, we're not doing that, but, so I want to make sure that everybody really understands what we're doing. So if there's a sense that people aren't understanding it, I'm in favor of tabling it and making sure that, we communicate it well before we vote on it. But let's see what the comments are from the public.
I
Okay,
agree.
Does council have any other comments on this, and we'll open it up to public comment? All right, this gentleman, just, we have, the guy in the blue, come on down here, if you're ready. I would appreciate that you would keep your comments brief, because it looks like we're going to have a few people that have an issue.
First of all, this is the POA signs that we developed.
Right.
I like
I think,
Councilman
okay.
Good evening. Dean Umshad, I'm president of the Cape May Beach Property Owners Association. I just handed a sign that we worked on in behalf of the members of the association. We wanted to have those installed before Memorial Day because we had a press writer say that there were no rules and no crowds on our beaches on the Delaware Bay. So we own from Emerson to Avalon, roughly, inside of Emerson, or outside of Emerson to Avalon. And we have been talking about this for probably a couple of years now. And we developed a sign. It parallels what you are just talking about with your resolution. I've been in touch with Councilman Perry. We were going to wait and see what the township adopted, and then we were going to make our signs. But I think we're pretty close with that right there. If you all agree, we're going to start installing them. I mean, if we have to change them, that's one of the reasons why I'm here. The other reason why you're looking at it is I just want clarification on B. This article shall apply to all beaches, dunes, beach area, and supporting facilities under the jurisdiction of the township. So does that leave? So, all right, I'll read it. Hold it. I'll read it. I said, notice on top in red, this beach area between Englewood and Avalon Roads is private public property. This area is unprotected and beachgoers do so at their own risk. Then it has the big no on the left, and here's the list of no's. no motor vehicles or motor boats, no damage to or walking on the dunes, no alcoholic beverages, no campfires, no littering, no disrobing, no loose dogs, and in parentheses it says clean up waste, no disorderly conduct, and no items left overnight by the Cape May Beach Property Owners Association.
Now, Dean, I have a question for you. If this ordinance, which basically, the ordinance that the township has, which originated with the rec board, am I correct on this? It came from the Recreation Advisory Board. Now, if this ordinance passes, it basically says that you cannot bring dogs on the beach between 11 and 4 o'clock on certain times of the year. Time out, please. Please, let me make my point. You don't have that on yours.
That's correct.
Now, if that goes into effect and people come down here and they see the signs that say you can't bring a dog here, where do you think they're going to go?
They're going to come to our beach.
You're going to go to your beach. So I'm just saying to you, as long as you have thought that out, because we're basically saying we don't want dogs on the beach during peak times when people are using the beach.
Understood.
Okay, fine.
You have to remember that the people only went by the information that they had a couple months ago, because obviously we ordered the signs they're in.
We just got this, I don't know when we got this, I'm not sure, but that we just began to work on this at the last or the meeting before? How long?
I think it was
Last month?
Last meeting.
Okay, so this is
I
something.
mean, if we have to, I can take it back.
I don't
to-
know.
to
I'm
the
just saying,
membership.
I don't want you hung out to dry,
We
is what
can
I'm
white it
saying.
out. We can white it out.
You would have, it's not so much whiting it out as if you sit back and say, well, we don't want the dogs at that time either. Because that would preclude people from leaving, say, further down and coming up to your beach, the POA beach, not your beach, the POA's.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so I'm just highlighting that for you so that you're aware of that.
All right, now, we're not the only ones, am I correct? There's corporations that own north of us. There is a corporation north of us.
There's a lot of the beach, especially up in the villas, it's privately owned.
Yes.
There's a lot of different spots.
So that brings me to B, where it says, under the jurisdiction of the township. Is that perfectly clear? Do we have to address that? In other words, we are by ourselves, council?
I think the intent of the ordinance, at least what was discussed last time, is the ordinance addresses township-owned beaches.
Okay, thank you. All right. And then the only other thing, as you saw in our sign, you made the change to engine power or motorboats, however you worded it. We just listed motor vehicles and motorboats, so anything with a motor on it
Right,
is eliminated.
that's where we're at.
All right, so right now, as it stands, without any changes, we just have to address the dog issue.
It's something you might want to talk about, because I just don't want it to find people as going as an alternative and the word getting out, and the next thing you know, you've got
Right.
more than what you need to
Understand.
have.
So for now, without any rules for Memorial Day, we can go with this if we get these up?
It's, you can do whatever you want, really. I mean, it's your beach. You
that's
can
what-
regulate it as you see fit, consistent with whatever the state laws
Now,
are.
don't get me wrong, we're trying to
Oh, I
work
know, I
with the
can see
township.
that.
We want to work with the
I
township.
can see that.
I had conversation with Mr. Perry about that. We want to, we don't want to be different. We
got
don't
it.
want to be, we
You
want to
want
be,
to be consistent with
Correct.
the proposed legislation.
correct.
That was a pretty good job, considering we didn't even know what we were doing 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's basically the two questions that I have. I do have another officer here that might have another issue, one of my officers.
All right, well, we have a whole bunch of people
Okay,
that want to
yeah, that's
speak.
fine.
We'll get to
Okay.
everybody as long as we keep it brief.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see hands going up. That lady in the back, all the way in the back.
You can have it, I didn't open it yet. Seriously. I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom. Go ahead, get it.
Good evening to the mayor and the council and anybody else up front here. Lois Jacobs, North Cape May, Beach Drive. my concern is that, thank goodness, you're finally coming up with some rules for the beach. It's been lawless. And I had a couple of specific questions. One is fires. Is charcoal braziers included in fire?
Yeah, they're on,
Yes, I
they're
believe
lit.
so.
No, that's,
Because people come to the beaches between, well, around Henry's and then down to Washington. That's the part I know so much about. And I've spoken about this before, but I wondered if fire included the charcoal.
that's a good question. I do a lot of camping, and there is a difference between fire, camp stoves, and charcoal and stuff, so that's
Yeah.
a very good question.
People bring tents and powdered palms, and you wouldn't believe, kitchen sinks. Now, you mentioned alcoholic beverages. Does that include beer?
Absolutely.
Except
Well, I've never considered it as such. Yeah, it would include it.
Let me say that coolers, big coolers, go down on the beach. I can't imagine what's in there. I have not looked in them, but I can only guess that guys with a big cooler have got some beer in there. Which leads me to the next thing. We all know what happens when you drink all that beer. That's the main thing that I wanted to say. There are no bathroom facilities unless people go up to Henry's. And I don't know how happy he would be to have everybody from the beach going up there. So the question is,
We do have bathrooms on Lincoln Boulevard.
Yeah, we haven't done it yet.
they're not going to go all the way down from up at the.
There's only so many
Scott-
porta potties you can put out there.
I know. I'm the last one in the world that wants to see a porta potty
I hear
across
you.
from my house. But the thing is that I have witnessed on multiple occasions children and adults going to the bathroom on the dunes. And I've called the police, and they say, well, unless they witness it, they can't do anything about it.
That's correct.
So, how do you feel about the dune being a latrine?
Not-
You know, think about it.
I understand.
Just think about it. I mean, witness the dog leavings, but now we've got people leavings. I think it sets a bad precedent to, I don't know what you can or would think to do about this, but it's the problem. All right, finally, not finally, but next to finally, how do you plan to implement this new set of rules and regulations for the beach? Are there going to be signs? Is there going to be somebody there telling them the new thing? They park at the end of Scott and unload everything, including the kitchen sink, down onto the beach. And it gets so crowded down there you can't move. But who's going to regulate this? Who's going to monitor it? I mean, if you make the rules, you have a reason to make them. And you really want to think about how you can make people know what the rules are. Right?
Correct.
I would like to invite anyone here who would like to come and sit on my porch, which is between Scott and Washington. I have a big porch, lots of chairs, and just watch the parade, the traffic, the craziness, the little ones left in the middle of the street while the parents go down on the beach, and see the coolers full of beer that go down. Memorial Day weekend would probably be great. They're already here. They've been here for 2 weeks. So anytime you would like to come by and watch on a weekend between, say, 11 and 2, that's when the worst time is.
Thank you.
So the invitation is open.
Well, I think part of it's going to be now that we have an ordinance with the alcohol, the police can now check. And if they see the alcohol on the beach, there it is.
But where are the police? Are they
Please,
watching
if they
the-
get a complaint or if they come down as they're patrolling, they could, if they see that, or so let's say you call and say, yeah, they have alcohol, they could drive by and then,
Am I the
there's the chance.
self-appointed monitor of this?
no, anybody. We're not going to put a beach patrol out there and stuff like that. The other question about the fires. How about if we had, right now it says kindle, build, or maintain or use a fire, but we could add, or any open flame, which would cover hibachis and stuff that could cause a fire down at the beach.
Now, how about a child who's running around and there's a charcoal cooker of a sort?
Well, that's
and
why-
gets tipped over and the kid gets
Charcoal, you have to
burned.
use an open flame to get it started.
Who's going to be responsible?
Well, that's why-
Parents apparently.
No, I'm
assume
agreeing
the
with you.
Responsibility,
I'm agreeing with you on this. A charcoal grill, you have to use an open flame to start.
right?
So if there's
Right.
no open flame, you can't start the charcoal.
But I don't sit on the beach, so I can't know. I have my family representatives who go down and come back and report what's going on. They're very concerned. So, thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address council? The lady behind with the white hat. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Mickey Kane. I live here in the Villas on Arbor Road, and I'm here to address the dogs on the beach issue. As young George stated in his wonderful essay, we are a tourist town. And I know many people come here because they can take their dog to the beach. And I think that rather than add new laws, if we enforce the ones already on the books about cleaning up after your dogs and keeping them on leash, that would make more sense than putting out new laws that aren't going to be enforced either. So that's my only comment.
Thank you. This gentleman, and not, yeah, with the arm, with the arm hanging off there. Thank you.
Far back left.
I got it.
Rich Anderson, Arbor Road. Addressing the dog things. We have most of these things already as an ordinance, correct? I mean, cleaning up after your dog, dogs on a leash, not allowed in the water, not allowed to run around unless they're in the water, correct?
Yes.
Who's enforcing them now?
That's what we're working on. That's why if you were earlier, we got the animal control, the manager talked to them. They will be patrolling the beach concerning that,
On
the
a
dogs.
60-mile-an-hour ATV again?
No, they're going to be stopping at different points. No ATV as far as I know.
Okay. I'm just saying, if we would just enforce the damn laws we got now, I don't think there's even a reason to ban dogs from 11 to 4. I just walking today on the beach. One thing I don't see at any street end is a trash can. Okay? I saw one piece of poop. What I saw every 15, 20 feet was a food wrapper, a broken beer bottle, and I don't know what the heck's going on, but every year it seems now we got a bunker problem. There's thousands of dead bunker on the beach right now. I don't know what the heck that's from. And everybody that's fishing, they strip their drum and then leave the carcass laying there. I mean, to me, that's a hell of a lot more hazard than what you guys are trying to ban. Enforce the rules you got on the books now before you start adding new ones.
And that's what we're trying.
That's
That's why we talked to animal control to get them to patrol and do that, and to stop and walk.
Obviously, they're not doing a good job.
We haven't, okay.
I mean, what else seriously, I mean, do they also do stuff with the trash?
We never had a situation with animal control, a contract that has the teeth in it that it has from Memorial Day to Labor Day, in that we've never sent these officers on the beach. It's in their contract. They have to go in 20 entranceways every weekend. They're down on that beachfront. They won't be driving on the beach, but I just think the presence is going to be so much greater, and they're going to be citing people that are...
You don't think leash laws would be good enough then?
Well,
I mean, I know there's a lot of people here who hate dogs, whatever. That's fine. But, you're not enforcing the laws that are on the books. So I just don't see the sense of adding more laws before you enforce the ones you got.
Well, I just think that from 6 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock in the morning, I go to the beach there often.
Well, so do I.
That's 5 hours. And then from 4 o'clock till midnight, you can, the same scenario. So I think there's ample time for
Okay,
the
well-
dogs to enjoy the beach, and we have a lot of people.
Are we gonna clean the beach at the same time? I'm done. That's, you know.
Back left.
This lady here, I want to make sure people that haven't had a chance to speak yet get a chance.
In the
Then,
back left, gentleman in the black shirt.
okay.
He's been having his.
Okay, you're next, sir. No, you're up, ma'am. You're up.
Hi, I'm Vicki Parent, and we're at 319 Beach Drive. And it's been a family property. My grandfather built it and bought the property in 1939, so we're not complainers or, between my 3 children, we have 6 dogs. But we see, in the heat of the summer, how many people, they pull up in vans and park on our side street and go down with dogs that you would not believe. My husband won't let my grandchildren go down on the beach in front of us because he says, yeah, you know where the number 2 is, but you don't know where the number 1 is. And I'm not having my grandchild digging in and then putting the urine in their mouth because the amount of, it's just in season. And I just look at it this way. We're a family of, well, with my niece, we have about 8 dogs. So we go from 0 to the summertime to 8 dogs. That's one house. I don't take them down to the beach anymore. I did when I was a kid, and there wasn't a lot of people down here, and we used to go down. But now we come down, it looks like the ocean with all the umbrellas and all, and it's not, it just doesn't mix. It's not like that we want all these rules and we don't like dogs and all. It's just that it's a health and safety thing that I feel that during the time when all the kids and all are down there, that these dogs aren't going down and doing that, you know. And like I said, you know, people say, he says, oh, we don't like dogs. Well, we love dogs. We wouldn't have 8 in our family if we didn't love them. But it's just, if you see, you only see yourself going down there. We see it from 6 in the morning till, you know, like you're saying, 9 o'clock. But during the heat of the day, people just coming down and down and down. And I guess it shows how popular the area is, because when we were kids, we used to run across the street with our dog and go down and run all around. But it like I'm saying, we have 8 dogs in one household that comes different times during the summer. Multiply that with everybody else's. Just like the people increase, so does the amount of dogs. And I think that I don't like rules, but there has to be something done. Thank you.
Thank you. The gentleman straight back here.
Good evening. Mike Morley, 426 Hollywood Road in the Villas. Just wanted to reiterate, basically give my support to the...
Oh, in the
Okay.
mic, please, Mike. In the mic.
Can you
Mike.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The gentleman with the arm, as you referred to, I think made some really good points. I mean, if there's a problem with cleaning up after dogs and dogs being off the leash, that should be enforced by either animal control or maybe you can get a Class 2 officer, somebody to just have a presence on the beach to discourage that. And to me, it seems to be unfair to punish the 95% of people who are responsible dog owners, who do clean up and who don't let their dogs run loose because of the actions of a few violators. And if that can be corrected, you know, I would be fully in support of that. The one thing I would mention, you know, some of the other towns like Stone Harbor and Wildwood and even Cape May, you know, for God's sakes, are becoming more dog friendly. And we seem to be going in the opposite direction. And I don't know if that's where we want to go. Okay? So, thank you.
Thank you.
On the beach in any of those.
No.
The gentleman with the hat. I'm trying to describe you guys. I'm doing the best I can here.
Hello, Byron Fry, Lower Township resident, 15 Folsom Avenue. Thank you for addressing the sailboat issue with powered motorcrafts. I'm also a board member at the POA, and I just wanted to bring up one issue. There's a couple of residents in the POA area, and I've seen them in other areas, Lower Township, that bring like small rowboats down, and they put small engines on that they carry down. So I don't know if you could have some, they go out to go fishing. Now, I don't do this personally, but I've seen them. So I don't know if you could write some exemption in there for a powered, vessel where you carry the engine down or something. It's not like a big jet ski or wave runner, but some of these people go out fishing, and a lot of the times they're old residents that have been doing this for years. So just a note there, just a thought.
Okay.
There's a resident in Lower Township that couldn't be here tonight that wanted me to mention something about dogs on the beach. And as an example, I was down this last weekend taking a walk with my family on the beach, and there was 3 or 4 people that had very small dogs sitting right next to them all afternoon long, very, very calm, nice dogs. I own a large, big dog. It's a nice dog, but I wouldn't bring it down on the beach because it would run all over the place and it wouldn't be appropriate. But for those residents that have dogs that would like to bring them down during that part of the day, a thought would be, could you offer for residents, for somebody to get a permit to bring their dog down and get some type of sticker, so then if they're not behaving properly, they could be, asked to not bring their dog on the beach. But for the vast majority of people that do have dogs, very nice, sitting there with them on the beach, it might be allowed during that part of the time. So I thought it was a good idea. I wanted to pass it along.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, Helen, and then we got that guy, the guy in the back. I see him. Just move up so I can see you a little better. This gentleman standing in the back. Everybody will get a chance.
Helen Thompson, Villas. Listen, I'm opposed to limited dogs on the beach. I find it ridiculous. You just have reports of people urinating, defecating on the beach. I mean, honestly, and they do it in the water, okay? People have more diseases than dogs would ever have. Okay, you got your kids in the water, people urinating, you don't have porta potties there. What do you think they do? Your solution for dogs is to limit them. What are you going to do with people? Limit them? No people between 11 and 5 or 4 or what? I mean, it's ridiculous. Enforce the laws you have. You have pickup after your dogs. Enforce it. What is so hard about that? I mean, I have no idea who you're catering to, but it isn't cool because there's a lot of dog owners in this township, and I don't think it's fair. I don't even take my dog to the beach. I take my dog somewhere else. But the fact is, a lot of people do take their dogs to the beach. They have every right to take their dogs to the beach. There's a lot of dog owners. I don't understand why you can't take that into consideration. They pick up, most dog owners pick up. Some don't. Have somebody there to enforce them. The problem's solved.
Thank you.
If you're worried about urinating, worry about people urinating in the water while the kids are playing next to them.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, gentlemen. I've been here for 35 years. I'm from Anthony Carino from 6 Beach Avenue. 35 years ago, I brought my dog down to the beach. There was nobody there. I always picked up behind my golden retriever. I played with him there every day. I've owned golden retrievers for 3 of them, so most of my life. These are dogs that are water dogs. I mean, we're going to take it away from them. They sit by my side on the beach. I'm a beach goer. I was brought up on the beach. You're changing a township here. And I know some people behind me are thinking, oh, well, we don't want the dogs down there. The lady doesn't even go down to the beach. You got to be kidding me here. I go to the beach every day, every week. I live I have one house 1 block from the bay and one house right across the street. I have one of my neighbors that doesn't know this township meeting was going on tonight. It's unfair. You guys start discussing this 2 weeks ago and don't let any of us know. Really? But motorboats. Let's talk about that. Byron just brought that up. I have a little inflatable with a 9.9 horsepower motor. You're telling me I can't use it? I can't go down to the bay now, across the street from me, and put my inflatable in and put my motor on it. You guys got to think.
That's what we're here for, is to discuss. This is what we're learning
I'm
about in
letting
this
you
part.
know.
Okay, I know. And he brought up a good point that as I said, we're learning and trying to figure out what's best.
I've been a lot of other places. I don't know. You guys don't go on vacations or what, but other places have dogs everywhere, inside their restaurants, everywhere. We're going to take people are getting better with their dogs. I tell all my guests about cleaning up behind their dogs. They know about it. Keep your dog on a leash. Come on. Again, and the guys who are talking about enforcement, that's it. And the enforcers have been there. They've been trying. And they're really nice and polite to everybody. And I think we need that too. I know you got some problems up in that North Cape, man. Get it. That's why I'm on the lower end. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
It's
This guy, it doesn't matter. Everybody will get a chance. Come on up, please.
Bill Connors, 3904 Shore Drive. Personally, I'm offended by somebody that's saying that, people that are here that don't want dogs on the beach are dog haters. That's perfectly untrue. And I think that the people that don't own dogs have just as much of a right to some peace and quiet on the beach as others. It's bad enough I sit in front of my house every day and watch dogs urinating and defecating in front of the house all day long. I go to the beach, I see the same thing. The biggest problem isn't the problem in this room, because people here know that they take care of their dogs. The biggest problem is the people coming from the outside. This ordinance is a good compromise. It keeps those people from bringing their dogs from out of town. I can tell you, years ago, I was here and talked about this. They actually had signs in motels in Wildwood to bring their dogs to the dog beach in North Cape May. So it's the outer towners coming in here. This ordinance, I think, will stop some of that. And you have 18 hours a day that people can take dogs on the beach. At least they can give us a few hours of peace and quiet without the barking and all the defecation and all the stuff that goes on. So that's what I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill?
I got something for you here. Guys sound like you didn't know what I was talking about last week, last meeting, so.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was last year's. This is what we. Bill, this is where we had the contract changed that Mr. Ridgway was
Well,
talking.
you guys sounded like you didn't know what I was talking about when I brought this up at the last meeting.
Because it's been changed.
Why was this introduced, this whole ordinance introduced like a month before the beach season starts? It was introduced a month, 4 weeks before Memorial Day starts.
Your point's well taken, but when you're finished, I would like to see if there's anybody from the rec board here that maybe we could have them explain some.
I mean, a lot of people are going to be affected by this, aren't even going to be aware that anything's happened until it's passed. There was something in the Star and Wave about this. I didn't see anything in the Herald or the press. A lot of people aren't going to know about it. If that handout I gave you, that was a press release by the township last summer. See the picture on there? The Morrow family from Williamstown. The gentleman was referring to out-of-towners. Well, out-of-towners rent houses here. Some of these people rent houses in the belief that they're going to be able to take their dog down to the beach. And then, before they come down here, you're going to tell, oh, by the way, you're paying $1,200 for a rental, but you can't take your dog down to the beach.
We're not stopping people from taking their dogs to the beach.
Well, during the daytime.
During the heat of the day.
I mean, this year it's going to be between 11 and 4. Now, next year, you're going to say, oh, no dogs at all on the beach during the in-season at all. So that's what you're heading for. Now, this press release that was put out last summer says between the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday, they respond to habitually howling, barking dogs, respond to dogs on the beach in violation of local ordinances, which means that last summer during the weekends, you weren't enforced, you didn't have animal control down there enforcing the existing ordinance you have on dogs.
You're correct. That's why it was changed this year. That's what we were
So,
discussing.
what about the rest of these things? Is animal control going to be responding to habitually howling, barking dogs on weekends?
Mr. Ridgway, can you better
Believe
explain?
so.
Okay, what do you mean? Is that yes or no?
Yes, they already are. The reports that I've been getting of what they've done in the past month amaze me, how many calls they're getting now, and I know we're going to swell by another 70,000
Those
people.
reports breaking down that what's on the weekends?
What's that?
Because I'm amazed too, because I called them up today and they said, well, if we get any calls for barking dogs on the weekends, we'll address it on Monday.
Well, they're already
I called
they're
animal
going to
control.
be on the beachfront. That's the most significant change. They're there, they're staying on that beachfront with a vehicle.
Okay, so if you got somebody that has a dog barking next to them on a Friday night, dog's barking all weekend, they got to listen to it all weekend, and it's not going to be addressed until Monday by animal control. Meantime, they're down on the beach on the weekend enforcing that, so you're only going to enforce part of your animal ordinances, part of your beach ordinance. So you're just picking and choosing what you're going to enforce here. How is that a bigger quality of life issue than somebody that's got to listen to a dog bark all weekend?
I believe the police could also respond to the barking dogs if it's annoying.
Residents can still call the police department for habitually howling, barking dogs after hours, and Shore Animal Control will conduct a follow-up investigation during regular business hours.
So the police are going to be responding, and
Well, it's
that's
the way it is
read it.
currently, so that's going to be changed too?
No, that's
Because the way it is currently, police don't respond to it. They will forward it to Animal Control, and they will address it on Monday.
you just read that they were going to respond. I don't know how to. No matter what I say, it's going to be turned. We're trying to work this out to get this for everybody. Last year was an article said come to the beaches, do whatever. We're trying to come up with rules. Came from the Rec Advisory Board. We're trying to get things under control so everybody can enjoy the beaches.
I think maybe what you need to do is like what you did with when all the changes were proposed for North Cape May, like with the beach path and all the markings in the roads, have a town meeting like you did for that. Inform all the residents what's going on because a lot of people don't know. And you've got a lot of difference of opinion, just like you did with that proposal in North Cape May along the beach last year. You know what I'm talking about, right? Have a town meeting, let the residents come out, get everybody's opinion. I think you had that, what, on a Saturday?
Thank you.
I'm not done yet.
Thank you.
Lower's the bay side, it's not the ocean side. I mean, we're not like Stone Harbor or Avalon. You know, it's a different way of life here. The guy, like the gentleman said, with his boats. Used to be years ago, you'd walk along the Villas there, and there'd be all kinds of boats sitting on the beach there. And as far as alcohol on the beach, I see a lot of people. I walk along the beach in the evening during the sunsets. See a lot of people sitting there in their beach chairs with a bottle of wine, having a couple glasses of wine. So that's going to be illegal too, or they clean up their mess afterwards. They're not bothering anybody. I mean, I don't have a dog, I don't drink, but I think if these people want to do this, they should be permitted to. That's a very common occurrence. You walk along the bay at night, people are watching the sunset, there with a bottle of wine, having a couple glasses of wine, they're not bothering anybody, they clean up their mess, and it's not a problem. You said you don't want to see things change. Well, that's what this ordinance is doing. It's changing a lot. So,
Hold on 1 second. I'd like to, is there somebody here from the Recreation Board who was in the process that maybe we can get some kind of a feel for the flavor of what we're doing?
Mayor, I'd be glad to come up, but I think the public should have their, let them say, and then I'll come up and I'll talk about how the rules came about and why.
Okay, fair enough. Who else wishes to speak? This gentleman here with the yellow shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. I haven't heard anybody say hello to you this evening. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Manager, Solicitor, Clerks. My name's Carl Behrens. I'm a resident of Lower Township. I live in the North Cape May section. First of all, I hope you'll indulge while I thank or congratulate George Sawyer one more time. That's a pretty awesome thing for young people. So I'm going to try to be the bright, sunny spot here tonight. I want you to know I grew up in Cape May Point. I've been here since 1960. I've seen the communities change, okay? Therefore, I think I have maybe a unique appreciation of how hard it is to do the things that you're trying to do. You're being faced with big change here. My caution, if I may, to you, and this is with all respect, please just be very, very careful of the laws that you pass. The preponderance of the statements I've heard this evening have had something to do with preserving the way of life. The mayor mentioned it earlier. I heard a gentleman behind me mention his inflatable boat with a 9-horse motor. This is a very integral part of the fabric of this community, boating and the beach in the bay, okay? Thank you very much. And so the suggestion I was going to make earlier, and you guys are much better with crafting words, so I say, than I am, but perhaps your prohibition could be on powered vessels over a certain horsepower. So, you know, if you got a little 15, 20 horse, which is a big part of the way of life here. I see lots of guys go off and get drum. What harm are they causing? All right? Again, I appreciate the job you're doing. I know it's really difficult. Keep on doing the best you can. Thank you.
Gentleman in the back.
Hi, Mayor. Jay Young, Shore Drive, Cape May Beach. In the summertime, I get my chair, my umbrella, my dog, a few beers, and I cross over and sit on the sand and drink a beer. I smoke a cigar occasionally, so I guess that's an open flame too, Tom? I don't know. But, I mean, yeah, the points are well taken here. We got to be careful we don't do some things. Maybe if you just went from the S curve to the ferry, that might be a good idea. There's lots of problems there. But we could use more trash cans and things like that. But yeah, this is what we come here for. I mean, that's why I live here. I live here to go over to the beach in the summer and sit and enjoy myself. I don't want to see that change, but I understand, you know, you guys got to work with some problems. So good luck.
Good evening, Bob Crane, Town Bank. I just kind of want to echo what I talked about our last meeting was, I think we really are losing sight of what of a jewel we have here and what we really enjoy, all of us as citizens. And I think you're taking away a lot of what we can enjoy, but I think we could probably enforce a lot of what's creating the problems, enforce some rules, put some trash cans out, do some different things to try to make it better, have the public involved. If we have to do a beach pickup or a cleanup, I'm sure the public would get involved. But let's not put so many rules on us that we can't enjoy it anymore. If we want to go down there and drink a glass of wine and watch the sunset, why shouldn't we be able to if we're not causing a disturbance? You know, if we want to take our dog down, and I go down at 12 o'clock in the afternoon to 4, why can't I take my dog with me if he's sitting right next to me on a leash? If I clean up after him. If there's people that aren't cleaning up, let's hang them out to dry because they're the people that deserve it, not us.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Anybody else? This gentleman.
How you doing? Jim Galloway, Eden Avenue. I'm thinking that the drunken disorderly is the problem, not having a beer or having a glass of wine. So maybe a wording change, you know, something, don't just prohibit alcohol. Don't say alcohol, no alcohol. Say something along the lines of no drunken disorderly activity or something along those lines. Might work better.
Thank you. Steve? Steve, could I impose upon you to come up now? And maybe you can help us with the genesis of this recommendation that came from the advisory board.
Well, I mean, in the past, this has been going on since 2009. I have an article from the Atlantic City Press of this council discussing these same issues. So that's been 7 years and nothing's been done. And I guess I can understand that because we want to ignore that the world's changing and people love Lower Township and we're getting more and more people on a small beach. Problems have been arising more frequently. We were asked by the previous manager and I believe council through phone calls that were coming in, complaints, to come up with, especially what really started this fire was the Atlantic City Press article last summer where there were quotes from officials from the township stating that, you know, we have no rules here, come and have fun and party and just, you know, that wasn't very popular with a lot of the residents. So it was more, we tried to come up with a common sense approach. I don't think that we prohibited anything altogether. All we tried to do is insert some common sense and courtesy for both sides. To try to, I apologize, I don't have the ordinance with me. I just rolled in from North Carolina an hour ago. But the things that we just tried to avoid, since the beach is not the beach is not a guarded beach. The township did not have an ordinance to protect itself to even regulate if somebody was doing some of the things that are in the ordinance now that for common sense reasons a police officer or a code enforcement officer would come down to the beach and ask someone not to do that. They would say, well, where does it say I can't do this? And the code enforcement or the officer would have no recourse but to walk away and let that person continue what they were doing, whether it was a fire in the middle of the day or if it was someone with a dog that they should be on a leash, but if they had a dog there in the middle of the day on a crowded beach and the dog wasn't behaving, I mean, there was issues there that couldn't be enforced. And that's one of the problems is we just don't have enforcement right now, and that may come sooner or later. I don't think it's necessary if everyone behaves themselves, but the problem is when you have more people coming to a popular beach now, it tends to happen with anything. As it gets more crowded, you have more conflict and chance for conflict, and we were trying to keep the township from being exposed to an incident down on the beach without 8-hour guards or 16, 12-hour guards down there. So we realize that boats and things are very popular. I don't think that the only thing that we prohibited was leaving boats on the beach overnight and operating a watercraft within 50 yards of swimmers, which we were just trying to balance courtesy. We did not prohibit anything down there, boats with motors or boats without. We said don't land a motorboat on the beach in the middle of the day. That makes common sense, but we also were thinking about people that were cruising perpendicular to the beach with swimmers, not to get that close. So that's why we came up with the 50 yards or whatever it was, 50 or 75 yards. We went back and forth with the numbers, and we were just trying to maybe regulate courtesy, because some people just think that they don't understand courtesy.
Excuse me, you cannot speak while he's speaking.
So that was the boat issue. We were just trying to avoid conflict with people who are down there with swimming and snorkeling or whatever, with boats coming in and out, that somebody, if an incident does occur, then there would be an ordinance in place that if this person was within 25 yards of somebody and then there was an incident, well, they broke a law. If you eliminate that, then I don't know how you regulate an incident if it occurs, because nobody would be in the wrong. It would just be an accident and somebody would be hurt, and then the township wouldn't look very good. Our reputation that you build over the years would go south because somebody gets hurt. And as more people come and want to do all the things that they're used to doing, it gets more crowded, and we're just trying to, again, regulate some common sense. We don't want anybody to stop what they've been doing for 50 years. Everyone has a right to the beach. Public access is for everyone, but you can't all do the same thing at one time in the same place. You have to have some courtesy, and that doesn't mean it's the first guy there or the biggest guy or the most people. You have to be regulated by some rules, so there's some social civility down there, and that's all this rule. That's what this was, and we looked at other ordinances, and we looked at the prohibitions, the common sense ones, and looked at other ordinances, and we put them in there to try to be comprehensive. And if it doesn't fit for this beach, you could take them out. But we wanted to present, our mission is to present to the manager and council our advice, or not our advice, but our ideas to help you guys come up with things. And then we have a discussion like this today and we work it out. But, it amazes me that it always comes out that, one side loves dogs and the other side hates dogs. and nobody's prohibiting dogs. I don't understand where anybody said we're prohibiting dogs. All we're doing is saying, guys, you've got it in the morning, you have them after, and when most people are down there sunning themselves, it's not just a matter of the dog going to the bathroom. Some kids are scared to death of dogs. And if a dog's on a 6-foot leash and you got a beach that's only 30 foot wide and the kid's walking back and forth, there's a chance for an incident. And we're trying to just avoid, when most of the people that are down there to enjoy the beach, if we could just avoid dog walking or having dogs on the beach at that point. And for all the dog lovers out there, and I have a dog, I don't know that I take my dog down the beach, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but between 11 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, my dog doesn't want to be out in the hot sun. So, you know, again, if I want to take him for a walk, I'll take him while the sun's coming up in the morning when it's cool, again in the evening when it's a nice time to take your dog for a walk, and in the middle of the day when everyone's down there boating, swimming, doing all those things. You know, a kid screaming, some dogs get excited about that, and then you have an incident. So we have people that live, you know, a couple of our members live right along the beach there, and they had concerns about this, and we know it's a sensitive issue, but all we were trying to do was insert some common sense, ask the residents of the township to be a little more courteous. You don't have a right to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it if it's going to infringe on the health, safety, and welfare of the general public. And that's what these citizens of this township need to start understanding a little better, that we're getting a little more crowded, we're getting popular, we're not a farming community anymore, we're a tourist community. And that means we have visitors, we have to be hospitable to those visitors, and we have to be courteous to all of our members, residents, part-time residents, and just be courteous. And that's what these rules tried to implement. Nobody tried to prohibit anybody's rights to do anything. And that's what we tried to do. And we presented that to you guys to read, discuss, listen to what the audience has to say, but don't be swayed by the far left or the far right. Let's be courteous and come up with a reasonable solution. And that's all I have to say. Unless you have any more questions for me.
Thank you. All right, we'll close the public portion. You already spoke on it, okay? This is, you know, we've heard sufficient here. We'll close the public portion. Council, excuse me. Council, comments, questions? What do you want to do with this?
I think because of the different things, and there's certain good points that brought up, I think we need to table it and look it
Agree.
over a little bit more and fine tune it.
There's parts of it
That are great.
that certainly I can support. I think we have to do something about some of the boats, the jet skis. I'm not 100% convinced at this point, and I think, you know, Dave, you certainly, we need to hear from you, but I think coming up that we are a week before Memorial Day, I think that was a good point, in the sense that it'll be mass confusion in the middle of it'll go into effect in another 30 days, and you're going to have kind of a really messed up deal down there on the beach, trying to have different sets of rules go into effect halfway through the summer. So maybe what we need to do is to sit and look at this and pick out the pieces that we like, try and recraft this, and then come back to council. But Dave, I'd like to hear what you have to say, please.
First of all, speaking to a lot of the people in Ward 2, and not just people in Ward 2, but residents of Lower Township that go to the beach, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Solicitor, this ordinance is basically going to go into effect, or would go into effect, on the beaches in North Cape May from Lincoln Boulevard, I believe it is, up to the Cape May Beach Property Owners Association property. Is that correct?
It would be the public portion of the beach, the township-owned portion.
The township-owned beach.
You know the streets better than I do.
Right.
That would include some even into the villas. I mean, your street ends.
Well, the ordinance as written, I think, includes all of the township-owned beaches.
And it would cover all the way through the bay.
You know the
I do.
geography much better than I do.
I do. And you would have certain sections that would go, but not to correct you, Dave. Go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And also being on the beach myself, I live in Cape May Beach, so I walk the beach quite often. And there was multiple problems last year. I saw it on the beach with larger dogs, scaring children, things of that nature, running loose, not on a leash, and there wasn't anybody down there to enforce it at that time. Hopefully this summer we will have animal control down there, and possibly police from time to time checking the area to make sure that some of these rules are being enforced, even the existing ones that we have on that beach this summer. And there are definitely some wording issues, I think, that needs to be cleaned up in this ordinance. I agree that we need to table it, we need to look over it some more. As far as the dogs on the beach, my personal opinion, I have 2 dogs myself. 11 to 4, I don't think is unreasonable for a couple different reasons. Number one, the population of the people on the beach at those specific hours. That's when the beaches are really crowded, number one. And number two, being the hottest point of the day, being down on the beach, unless the dogs are shaded and the people thought to bring them drinking water, which a lot of times doesn't happen, it kind of helps that out too. But I think for health, safety, and welfare of the general public, that that those times are not unreasonable. But I think we need to rework some sections of the ordinance and bring it back.
No, I agree. I mean, I think we table it, we reword it, and we bring it back to the table.
I don't want to leave it as just tabling it. I want to keep the conversation going. I think it's important. This conversation is healthy. It's good because I hope that every newspaper says that we're looking at, we're discussing it, we're wrestling with it, and please come to the next council meeting to weigh in on this thing. I'd love to see a map of where exactly this is going to affect, so people can learn, all right, if this goes into effect, this is where it applies, this is where it doesn't apply. I'd love to hear from animal control. Here's what we're going to be doing to enforce these current rules, and here's how we're going to be enforcing the new rules. So if we could get them to weigh in, and I think that conversation plus plead with everybody. It may be, as one gentleman said, we need to do the automated call and invite everybody to come at a specific time, but at least at the next couple of meetings, I want people to keep discussing it, because I think that's going to help us all, to Mr. Maury's point, be more courteous, because we're going to understand how people feel. On the one hand, these dogs are family. They're part of our families. And on the other hand, other people, they can't stand seeing, stepping in dog poop and having their kids intimidated by animals. So this discussion helps people to be more sensitive and aware. And I just hope they put it into the newspapers to encourage people to let council know what they think. And thank you for all coming in here tonight and telling us your view.
I would like to see something that we can do to increase enforcement of the existing ordinances that are down there. I think that we really need to to write some tickets down there, and maybe we got to. At one point, we had a guy down there, if you remember.
Yeah, that's why this year
we need. I know.
This thing that should have never happened. This
Right.
article, but we got that corrected. I
Right, but I mean, we need to make sure that we send a message loud and clear. But, listen to me, I want to make sure of something too. The rec board did a lot of work on this, and we appreciate that, Steve. And I mean, we're not casting any aspersions on the work you did. It is an important issue, and it's not one that has all the weight on one side. And it's something that we need to go back and recraft and try and find that middle ground. It won't make everybody happy, but helps to solve a problem. And you are correct. There are problems down there that need to be solved. And thanks, Dave, for your input, and all, because that's your ward, and you know it better than any of us. So we need a motion to table it.
Motion to table.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
And real quick, the gentleman that had the Kodiak, can you see me after the meeting? I have a question for you.
Okay. We move down now to the administrative reports. Any comments, questions on the administrative reports? Okay, we move down to council comments.
I would like to remind everybody that Memorial Day is coming up real quick, next Monday night, and please go down Sunset Beach. Marvin Hume's flag's going to be flying, and it'll be a nice tribute to Mr. Hume, who paid a great tribute to all our veterans for 40 years. Relay for Life is at the end of the month at the Lower Cape May Regional High School. It's a
Excuse me,
community event.
please.
It's a community event. Everyone's welcome. It's actually celebrating the survivors and the caretakers. So if you get a chance, please go. This weekend, I took my scout troop up to the Appalachian Trail. Found I really hate going uphill with backpacks on at my age. Then I came down, if it was even worse, I felt, oh, sorry, my wife wants me to say she also went. And then I came down and felt much better because I got in there and found out that Delaware Water Gap is now celebrating their 50th anniversary, so now I know that I'm as old as the Delaware Water Gap. My kids thought that was kind of funny. But that brings another thing to recreation, and I was at the school last week with Mr. Purry. And a few years ago, we started something with bringing Luke Egan on the Rec Advisory Board, and I think that helped. And we don't have all the nuts and bolts in place and how we're going to do this exactly, but I think we need to add some youth to get them a stake in what's happening in this township, to make them think they're part of it. Right now, we kick them out of the parks sometimes. We don't know, and then, of course, they go in the neighborhoods. But if they have a say and they could bring in some ideas of what they want as recreation. I just brought up Boy Scouts and hiking. That's not for everybody. Team sports is not for everybody. We need some new ideas. And sometimes, I mean, I may think I know what's best for the kids, but let's face it, I'm no longer 15. I don't know what's going on. Now, I would like as council to discuss, and we have to look at a lot of different things. I know Mr. Kobick at the school is interested. When I talked to the kids, they were highly interested because they have some ideas. And if council agree, we can start looking into it. It's not going to happen tomorrow or next week or at the next meeting, but we should discuss how it works, how the Rec Advisory Board's set up. If there's openings, I would like a male and female because to make it fair, let's get everybody's opinion. Other than that,
It's been a very busy month for me, which I've been enjoying quite a bit. This is my, of course, the end of my 5th month, I think it is, serving on council, whole 5 months. It's been a very busy month in the aspect that I've been getting a lot of emails and phone calls from my people in Ward 2 with their concerns. And I am pleased to say that just about every issue that has been brought up to me, I've met with the manager on, and they have either been corrected or are in the process of being corrected. To all the residents of Ward 2 and all the residents of Lower Township, feel free at any time to contact, I'm sure, Mr. Ridgway and Ward 2 myself of any concerns or issues that you may have regarding anything. We came across several important safety issues on the beachfront with Rose Hill Parkway and Whittier Avenue, and hopefully we can get some of these things straightened out prior to the summer and still have that beach access to use. So, again, any issues for any of the people in Ward 2, feel free to call me.
Well, we witnessed the ribbon cutting for Cape May Brewery as they have expanded their second ribbon cutting. We wish the best of luck to them. We're also proud now to be an official Coast Guard community, Cape May County, and all that attended the long weekend of celebrating that saw the festivities and realized how important that is to our community. Last week, I attended a meeting. It's something I've been an advocate for since starting a school safety team at the junior high, and that is a regional safety team. We met, Brian Marker is in charge of safety for not only the Lower Township School District, but the Lower Cape May Regional District, along with our school resource officers, administrators from all the Lower Township Elementary was represented as well. We're trying to have a uniform response to an emergency situation in the schools. Everyone, I'm sure, is well aware of some of the recent and even past events in schools that have happened, tragedies and such. So we are also, at our next meeting, we're going to be inviting Cape May and West Cape May into the discussion. And the Cape May County Prosecutor's Office is also involved in giving us guidelines so that we can all work together and have a uniformed response to an emergency situation. What's happening now is, what I found out through research was, different schools use different codes and different ways to react to emergency situations. As they move on to another school, those codes and those procedures change. So we're trying to all get on the same page. So as the kids move on, they understand, how to act and what the emergency procedures are as they go on from school to school. Especially this is a unique situation because we have 4 different schools, elementary schools in the Lower Township District and 2 different schools in the Lower Cape May Regional District. And last but not least, Wednesday, the state will be here, Department of Transportation and Turnpike Authority. Those that attended the last time they were here was several months ago. They will be discussing the Exit Zero turnaround. They're going to be revamping the end of the parkway, making it a safer and more efficient transportation area. That is at 3 o'clock. They will be here to talk to the public if anyone has questions. 3 to 4, I believe, right? And then 4 to 4, they're going to have the
7 maybe?
yeah 4 to 6 is the 4 o'clock, I believe, is the presentation. But if you wanted to get here earlier and speak to them, they did this before, and we got them to, the concerned citizens in Ward 3 that live in that area, through their responses and through, our will to make change. They took a part of it out that we didn't feel was necessary. A lot of it is necessary, obviously. There's been fatalities there. It's a safety issue. But they'll be here to present the final plans that will be going into place in the next couple months. And with that, I'm finished. Thank you.
It was last meeting, Kathy Lauterbach, who heads up the Lower Township Chamber of Commerce, challenged us to take pride in all that we had and also to celebrate all that's good about Lower Township. And she inspired me and some others to build a new website for the Chamber to help us celebrate all the good things in Lower Township. It's called top10placesinlower.com. And what we're going to be doing is we have one of the local newspapers is going to run ads and encourage everybody to vote. What are the top 10 places to visit in Lower Township? And let me just read the people that will be on the list. We've got the Cape May Lighthouse, Sunset Beach. Believe it or not, you may not know it, we have a llama farm, which gets over 5,000 visitors in the course of the year. Naval Air Station Wildwood, Historic Cold Spring Village, Coxhall Creek Wildlife Management Area, Cape May Maritime Museum, the Cape May Winery, Turtle Winery, Cape May Brewery, Hawks Haven Winery, Cape May Lewis Ferry, Skellinger's Landing, Cape May Whale Watch and Research Center. We got the World War II Tower, Diamond Beach, and if we're missing any important sites, let us know because we're going to put them on the list. And we're going to encourage people at each of these sites as they visit to vote so that we can, I think it's a nice way of letting everybody know that, we've got more than 10 places that are really exciting to visit in Lower Township. And while we're speaking about celebrating what we have, it was a year and a half ago, we worked hard to get the Department of Transportation to reroute the Bayshore Heritage Byway, which is driving people from all through Cumberland County along the bay, all the way down to Cape May Point. But the Bayshore Heritage Byway was going to bypass Bayshore. It was going to skip past the Fishing Creek School and the Coxhall Creek Wildlife Management. It was going to skip past Cold Spring Village. And we raised the flag for Lower. They rerouted it. But, as you know, these things go in government. We got the designation, but we need money for the signs. The Department of Transportation hasn't written us a check for the signs yet. So I've challenged the Chamber to round up all the folks that are a part of the Bayshore Heritage Byway, figure out what kind of signs we should get, how much they would cost, and what kind of permission we'd need for the signs. whether they be on county roads or municipal roads, and then come back to us with a plan on how we're going to help designate this wonderful new Bayshore Heritage Byway. So Kathy's here tonight. I think she's agreed to take up the challenge. She wants some help, so we're going to be challenging folks to help with that and come back to us with a plan about signage for the Bayshore Heritage Byway. Thanks, Kathy, for challenging us.
Thank you. Okey doke, here's your announcements. Shred Day. It's like Saturday, May 20th, 9 a.m. to noon here at Town Hall. Relay for Life, May 30th, 31st at the high school, Lower Cape May Regional. Pool passes go on sale May 30th at the Recreation Center. Tell them Nora sent you, you get a discount. Wrong. Lower Township Community Day and Bike Auction, Saturday, June 6th at the Rec Center, noon to 3 p.m. Escape the Cape Triathlon, Sunday, June 14th. The Independence Day Festival and Fireworks, Friday, July 3rd on the Bayfront in North Cape May. And the best for last, the Summer Concert Series begins July 8th at the ferry terminal at 5:30. And here's the list. Drum roll, please. July 8th, Soul Cruisers. July 15th, B Street Band. July 22nd, Separate Ways. What's that?
Journey.
Journey? Cool. July 29th, Morrison Brothers. Is that the country?
Yes.
There you go. And August 5th, Danny V's. What's that one?
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel, okay. So there you go. We're up to, what, 5? We had 4 last year, right? And this is in partnership with the DRBA. And you cannot have a nicer evening. If you haven't been there, you do not know what you're missing. It's free. You take a blanket, you go over there to the ferry terminal, you sit down, watch the sunset, watch the boats come in and out, and listen to some fantastic music. It really is a treat. And it's becoming more and more popular. Okay, with that, we'll open it up to the call. Go ahead. You got more?
No, it's actually about the Escape the Cape. Is there a way we could get Delmo Sports here at the next meeting, June 1st? Just because there are going to be some major traffic changes, and I would like to get the public notified of them. They're going to be shutting down certain roads and certain parts.
Got it.
Okay. A call to the public. Public wishes to address council, step forward. This young guy here.
Frank Sirocco, Lower Township. I know that Kevin Maloney has already left the building, but I have one thing to bring up to Norris and Kathy, and that is I'm a little disappointed here in this name, Cape May Port Commercial Fishing. Cape May doesn't have a commercial fishing port. Lower Township does. So why isn't Lower Township's name, you want to bring everything into Lower Township and whatever, recognition and whatever, why do that? Why put a heading like that?
Are you?
I'm asking
I
you a
don't have.
question.
Yeah, well, I know you're asking me, but he's not here, so I can't explain the rationale.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody should have mentioned something like that. I mean, this is Lower Township. Lund's and all those, they're in Lower Township.
You know, we
House, they're in Lower Township.
we understand where you're
but
going.
nobody wants to recognize the fact that this is Lower Township.
I got you. You're correct. Okay.
So what can we do about it?
Well, I mean, you know, you've got a whole bunch of different places that are actually Lower Township that still have the name Cape May, and until we own them, there's not much we can do about it. They can use the name they wish.
Okay.
Sorry.
Solve anything.
No.
Lower includes Cape.
Anybody else wish to address council? Somebody all the way in the all the way in the back, straight back.
Helen Thompson Villas. Thank you, Mr. Clark. That was a good, I appreciate the open discussion on the beach. Here's my, how do you expect, what's your plans to get the extreme weather pet ordinance out there to the people? I mean, just putting it in the code book, no one looks in the code book. I do, but, you know, I don't have anything else to do. But, you know, most people don't look in the code book.
Well, the number one thing, there'll be articles, I'm sure, and there's been a number of them written already.
There hasn't been an article about the extreme weather. I think the press did one, but locally, starting what, you know, it's been like cut down, shut down, basically. So are they going to be in there? I mean, with the full extreme weather, it is a new ordinance. It's important that people are aware.
I think the press, I mean, you know, the same way we get all the information out, we have that's why we do the television. It's on, you know, the local cable TV. We have the newspapers. I don't know what else to tell you. We're not going to do a mailer, you know.
I didn't say no, but you could, you know, ask that maybe a press release goes out or something
Well,
like that from somebody.
Yeah, we can see.
You know, the one thing you can do, the chamber sends out, you have a book, you have that book that goes out. I bet you we could figure out a way, I mean, you could, to pay for a page in there, that goes to every household. And if you piggyback on that guidebook that the chamber sends out every year, that's the most cost-effective way to get the word out about something to every household.
Where's that from? I mean, where's it?
The chamber every year, with I think a little support from the township, produces a book that's mailed to every home. And I think if you
I
talk,
have the book. I mean, I just didn't know where it originated.
if you talk to the chamber, you know, they can, we can figure out how much it would cost to put a full page in there about how pets should be treated. It's just a thought.
Okay. And I just wanted to say, there is, you know, the gentleman from the rec advisory, I think he was saying something about they couldn't enforce like a dog defecating on the beach because there was no laws. There is. You have to pick up after your dog. That is a law. And isn't there already a leash law also in Lower Township, like no dogs running at large, right? There's already a leash law, isn't there? I mean, there's a couple of things. He spoke last, you know, and then nobody had a rebuttal on that. I'm just saying something. And one other thing I would like to say is North Cape May, I mean, I live over there by Jake's, you know, in that area. The beach is not even close as it's crowded over there. Like, there's nothing going on over there as it is in North Cape May. And, you know, this thing, however you're going to write that, it's going to be a blanket, including everything. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address council? This young lady here.
I'll be short. One of the neatest things that I did last year was see the Indians come down. I don't know if they started kayak down from the Delaware, and we went over to Sunset Beach. But I don't think that was publicized. I saw a little article in one of the papers, and we went over, and when they came in singing, I mean, it gave me chills, and I thought, oh, why aren't more children here? And I asked in the Sunset gift shop, you know, what time they didn't know anything about it. So I thought that the next time that they came down, if it was more publicized, and then they had the powwow up at the ferry. But it was amazing, really.
That was a nice event.
Yeah, and I didn't think it was publicized. You know, if more people,
It was out there, but this time of the year, there's so many communities holding so many events, things get swallowed up.
Oh, okay. But I just thought for children to see that, you know, it would make history come alive to them.
Thank you. Anybody else? This gentleman, Steve, then Ed.
Just
Relax,
to
Ed,
officially
you're up.
rebut that I never said there was no rules for dogs defecating on the beach, but we hear what we want to hear. Also, just to answer your question, throughout the Atlantic seaboard, the port of Cape May is what our Cape May port is known as. I take great pride in living in Lower Township, and I was a little discouraged about the discussion about changing the name because Lower Township has been around since 1792, and we have a great heritage to be proud of. But we live in a landform of Cape May. It's a cape. It's a landform. It's the bottom of, just like Cape Hatteras, So we're a municipality. The geology and the geography and the municipality, we keep our name. I just want to say that I'm very proud of the Lower Township Chamber coming up with the idea, and it's a great idea that we need to keep Lower Township in the forefront by advertising, not advertising, but celebrating the special areas that we have in the township. We have Irma, we have Bennett, we have the villas, we have Skellinger's Landing. If you say, this is happening at Skellinger's Landing in Lower Township, that's the truth. That's a section of the township. The problem that I see that we'll never overcome as far as people identifying their businesses as Cape May, and I have this problem as a resident of Lower Township, is we don't have a zip code. So every time I order something online and I say I'm from Irma, New Jersey, they say, wait a minute, that's not where you live. You live in Cape May, because it's 08204. It's going to be real tough to overcome unless maybe we can solicit the post office
They tried.
to get our own zip code. But
They
until
did. They
you
tried
do,
that about 10 years ago. They shot
every
us down.
business has to advertise where they are with their zip code, and it's Cape May. We can't take it personally that a business says they're in
Right.
Cape May, because that's their address that they have to live with. So
I got it.
there's other things we can do to overcome that. I really think celebrating every community in this township one at a time, and maybe not just the special like the lighthouse, but celebrate the communities in this township, how they came about and why they arrived and where they got their names. That's going to bring interest to this township, and people will come here. We have some great natural facilities, natural areas that people come. I mean, 2 Mile Landing is one of the largest wildlife habitat areas in the state. The old Coast Guard base over there, that's Diamond Beach. Diamond Beach is a surfing beach. It's the only surfing beach in Cape May, Lower Township. You have Diamond Beach where people surf. So we offer everything on our own. We're the only municipality that has shoreline on the Delaware Bay, at Cape May Point, in the Atlantic Ocean. And we have more natural and man-made facilities for our summer tourists and our residents to enjoy than any other township in Cape May County. And if we just start identifying with them and celebrating them, more people will recognize Lower Township. That's the only thing I can think of doing until we get a new zip code. So keep up the good work with working collaboratively with the chamber, because that's a very important organization, and that's how you're going to get something done. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed?
Ed Butler from the Villas. Now that all the important things are done, I just want to bring something up that's really not probably even discussed. The last time I brought it up was for the FEMA situation, and Mr. Ridgway gave an answer. There was a letter that was supposed to be sent to the Biondo's office, and I don't know if the response ever came back. Well, there will be no Lower Township if we ever got a Category 2 or 3 hurricane, because it's going to wipe us out here completely, which don't seem to be that important, because I haven't heard nothing from this council or yourself about this issue at any meeting. It's all these important things that come up.
Ed? I spoke with the good Congressman Lo Biondo at the Cape May Brewery last Friday when we had the ribbon cutting. I made him specifically aware of the issue about the front here, and asked him to get in touch, which he did, with Stu Farrell, who was handling our appeal of the FEMA process. And then I heard back like 2 days later from Robert Geist from the congressman's office, who was on top of what we're doing, and he's requested any and all papers that Stu Farrell is generating in relationship to this appeal a copy to be sent to his office, so he can help us in any way, shape, or form that we can.
Well, the only thing I could say out of this whole thing is the political situation, and Biondo is the key to it in Washington, and with FEMA, and being that our 3 councilmen ran with them, I'd like to see them get in touch with him and talk to him and put pressure on him, because this might not be important to a lot of people. Believe me, you ever get a good storm along that bay, like I said, it's not going to be here because that's the highest point along the bay till you get to the airport.
We know.
And this will wipe it right out.
And that's why Mr. Perry and I actually had the good congressman on the beach at one point. I've talked to Mr. Geist at different times. We're all working on it. Sorry, we're not giving you daily reports, but everybody on this council is working on trying to get this resolved and try to get something for the people.
Well, if it don't get a lot of pressure on resolve, next thing you know, you're going to have the maps done. Then you got 90 days, and the people that own the property
We're
along
past
the
that
bay,
point already.
they're out
We're in the
here.
90
I know
days.
you know it. I know, but it's never brought up, or it's not an important issue at any of the meetings. For months, I have nothing heard about this.
You missed
Months.
a few meetings.
We did, because what we did, if you remember, and it's probably it's the same letter that you're referring to. We passed it as a resolution to send him information on that. So that was probably, I'd say, not last meeting, but the meeting before.
Oh, come on, it's 2 months ago with that meeting already. You've been talking about dogs for the last 6 weeks. There's been nothing there mentioned that. It's been that
I'd have
long.
to, I'm not sure when,
Well,
I'll have to.
I'm not going to look it up now. I just made a statement, but I know because I brought it up. and you
Well,
guys made-
obviously, we've been working on it. I just got done telling you last Friday, I spoke with the congressman about the issue.
And
I don't
the,
want to get stuck with this, and next thing you know, the people along the bay, their insurance rates will go up so high they can't afford it. You got enough houses for sale here and losing a lot of people because there'll be more yet.
I understand that.
All right, thank you for your time. I should have sat down a long time ago.
Yeah, Bill Greenfield, Villas. Just to echo what the lady said, not that I'd be trying to divide the township or anything, but it is more of a problem up in the North Cape May area than it is in Villas, as far as the number of people on the beaches. You don't have nowhere near the number of people on the beaches in the Villas. So I don't know how, if there's any, take that into consideration when you're revamping the ordinance, but that
Okay.
walk along there, it's a night and day difference as far as the number of people
Thank you.
in the villas. Okay, thanks.
Anybody else wish to address council? Close the public portion.
Resolution number 2015-164, a resolution providing for a meeting not open to the public in accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. This is for discussion of the preparation of collective bargaining.
Make a
Motion to
motion.
go to closed session.
second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor